Hi again. Today we are making pork kare kare. Um, this is a dish that is basically stewed meat in a peanut sauce. And we usually serve this in the Philippines with a little bit of bagoong on the side. Technically, you can use chicken, pork hocks, seafood. I mean, depends really on what you want this dish to be in the end. We'll start off with some garlic. So I love garlic, so I will be using at least 6 cloves of garlic. And this is sitaw, and it will be added onto our dish later. In English, it's called green long beans. And so first, we chop off as well half a red onion. Okay. We'll get our pan hot enough to start frying our vegetables. Add some oil in the pan, generous amounts. Now, I didn't want to make too much of this dish, so I am using some pork tenderloin. This is a quick version, and so we'll try our best to get this all ready within 30 minutes, and that's very doable too. So onion comes in, goes in the pot, smash our garlic cloves, give that a little bit of chop. Since this is going to be basically like stewing, I didn't want to cut them down to too fine of a chop. So rough chop is good. Give that a good mix. Oil. And yeah. And as well, today we are adding, of course, mini bok choy. And I've deep fried an eggplant because I like to serve them deep fried on the side, like on top of the dish. And I've got here a couple of pieces with, those are pork tenderloin, and a couple of pieces with fat. So the fat out of that meat will add to the flavor of our dish. So we'll put that all in as well. It's annatto powder. So basically, annatto is achuete in the Philippines, and they come in as seeds. So either you dilute that with your water or any liquid, your stock, or you fry that with a little bit of oil. So that either way you can do any of that to add onto this dish. But I just find that it's easier if I had annatto or the achuete powder. It just colors it really well. So our eggplants are now ready. So we'll just put them in a plate with a paper towel to absorb the extra oil that is still clinging onto our eggplant. We don't want it to be too greasy anyway. So we'll just transfer that and put it aside for now. Just using a little bit of fish sauce. And that fish sauce will flavor your meat right away. And as you can see, the flavors at the bottom is starting to release out. And with this, I want to add some water. We'll put in this much water, about a cup and a half first. And then we'll add on another cup. At this point, I want you to add our annatto powder. So give that a good snip top. And for this, we are using about 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons of annatto powder. And as you can see, it's bright, like orange red. And we'll put two of that for now, and we'll see where the color's at for this dish. So I'm adding a bouillon, a pork bouillon in there, and a little bit more water. So we can start cooking that pork, all right? And I want you to see the color of this dish. It is pretty bright red, but you have to remember that we're still adding peanut butter to this. It's time to cut our long beans. I've already washed this earlier, so I'm just gonna cut them maybe 2 inches in length. I think that's a good bite size right there. And we're gonna continue cutting the rest. There you go. And we will put that in later on with the rest of the dish. Now, while this is boiling, I want to show you peanut butter. Pick a smooth peanut butter, one without, you know, chunks in it. So peanut butter. I am gonna add at least a cup of peanut butter into this dish, and we will try it. You can, if you want it to be a little bit more peanut buttery, so just a good cup is the least you can do with this dish. So we'll let that boil out, and then we will try in the sauce and season it later. Okay, so now we're gonna add our long beans. Want that cooked through, so I'll just add that to the dish. Give that a good mix, and then the next thing that we want to add is our mini bok choy. Our eggplant is already cooked, and so we want to add that next, just, you know, right after our long beans are done. Now with this, we serve it with shrimp paste, and this one is from Barrio Fiesta. That's a restaurant that serves, you know, like that's the Kare Kare right there. If you can see, they serve a lot of Filipino food, and yeah, they have different kinds of bagoong. They have the spicy ones or the sweet ones, but this is just a regular shrimp paste, and it's savory. It's more or less, it's salty, and it adds to this dish, and it just makes it taste really, really good. So we're just giving that a good stir. How do you know if it's really cooked? You know, the color changes too, and when you lift up the long beans or the sitaw, it's not as stiff. It'll be a little bit flexible. So we'll just let that cook for a bit. Alright, so now it's time to add our mini bok choy. So I'm just gonna, this might look a lot, but of course when it starts cooking, it'll wilt down, so don't worry. It's not too much. So I just dump that all in there and give it a good stir. And this is smelling really amazing. And this would be paired up with a nice steaming bowl of white rice, steamed rice, and kid you not, this will make your day. So we'll just let that mini bok choy, they don't take too long, of course, about 3 minutes. Now some people, they would want to thicken their sauce up a little bit, but for me, you know, like they use rice, like ground up rice, and they put it in here and the sauce will thicken up. That's great, but for me, I liked, you know, it to be saucy enough for me to put it on my rice, and you know, just I like it a little saucy, so I'm not gonna thicken that up. I think it's thick enough. And so now we're gonna plate. So I've got the eggplants that I've deep fried here earlier, and I just want to put a couple pieces at the bottom first, just so let it soak up the sauce that we've made. So I've got 3 in there. Now we're gonna put in our beautiful kare kare. Lots of vegetables in there. At this point, after adding a couple of pieces of meat in there, I just want to add a little bit more eggplant, just maybe on the side there. Add a bit more sauce there. And as you can see, the vegetables have wilted to nothing. So yeah, and then with that, serve with a little bit of our bagoong on the side where the eggplant lies. There you go. That's it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Kare kare.